And make sure that we are speaking clearly into our mics, please. Town of Log Lane Village Notice of Special Meeting, June 30th, 2025. The time is 5:40 p.m. 202 Birch Street, Log Lane Village, Colorado, 80705. At any meeting, the potential exists that an executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, Section 4, to discuss such things as litigation, personal matters, property transactions, conferences with attorneys, security matters, or any protected information may be called. Roll call. Here.
Deli,
Here.
Melissa,
Here.
Cajun, Josie,
Here.
Robin,
Here.
Angie.
Here.
Okay. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On to the special meeting, line item 1. Approve, disapprove access to media advertising, the car show and family festival for $1,258.
That's what we're ready for.
Radio station.
I'll make a motion to approve access to media advertising the car show and family festival for $1,258.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Naomi,
Yes.
Deli,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie.
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Angie.
Yes.
Line item 2, motion to approve, disapprove consulting services agreement for water system operator and responsible charge.
Should we put contract at the end?
Is it labeled? Yeah, that's just how how it is up on top. I think that's why they wrote it that way.
I'll make that motion to approve consulting services agreement for water system operator and responsible charge.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Naomi,
Yes.
Deli,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie.
Yes.
Robin.
Yes.
Angie.
Yes.
We removed line item 3. It's no longer needed. On to line item 4, approve, disapprove the purchase of t-shirts for 50 car show participants for $985. For clarification, I did include in those 50 t-shirt, or the quantity of 50 to include for the board members who attend and the other employees. The only of the employees, the ones who are not included are the police department because they need to wear a uniform, of course. But,
And I don't really need one either because I'm gonna have a booth.
and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it was for the ones who are
Helping
helping out,
actually.
yes. Mhm.
So is this the colors we're doing?
No, those aren't the
Oh.
shirts. That was for line item 3. We're gonna do, and I'm sorry, I don't have, we're gonna do the heather gray, and I have the picture right here of what it'll look like. This is what they came up with. And it'll be on
Oh,
a,
that's pretty.
it'll be on a heather gray t-shirt. So, and the employees will have, it'll say staff on the back.
Did you guys ever
So
think
that's on the
about,
front then?
Yes.
that would be really pretty to put on shirts to sell.
We could,
'Cause
that'd be
I would
more
buy
money,
One of those, that's really, I like that shirt.
so,
Well, yeah, this is true.
hmm so.
Hey, send that to me, then I can put it on my own shirt.
Okay.
No, seriously, that's pretty.
And who are they with?
I don't have the invoice from them,
Embroidery,
no, we didn't, ended up not going through them. Because they alone for the t-shirts for the employees were gonna be $290.
Uptown.
Yeah,
Up
on Main Street,
They're expensive.
and you.
And she really, I don't think that.
those that you're holding there. What is the company? What is the business that we're using?
Called Goldilocks something,
And we will get the invoice in.
yes.
So they just got back in to the country, so that's why, but they were at least able to pull something up and give us a quick estimate. And just so that you guys know, last year, the gal that we used, they donated those t-shirts, those white ones, and that was like almost $2,000 that they did it as a donation.
I don't know.
We didn't, yeah, no. So we were in a hurry. We were on a time crunch right now, so we kind of, any other questions regarding the t-shirts?
No, did you show a picture?
Yes.
Yeah, they look really nice.
I'll make a motion to approve purchase of t-shirts for car show for employees. Oh, whoops, sorry, wrong one. I'll make a motion to approve purchase of t-shirts for 50 car show participants in the amount of $985.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Naomi,
Yes.
Ellie,
Yes,
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie?
Yes.
Robin? Yes. Yes.
Line item 5, approve, disapprove purchase of trophies at the amount to be determined at the meeting. So there is a Amazon
is that this one?
estimate, yes. It has 3 sizes. We did have the car show committee Saturday morning and decided that it was just easiest to go with these 3. There's 3 different sizes, so for a first, second, and third place. And then we'll just put on their 2025 Log Lane Village Car Show 2025, and then one's gonna say first place, second, and third. Keep it simple. And it would, so these amounts, I'm hoping they're still the same amounts.
56, 29, 59, 84.
Yeah. So we could put like an amount not to exceed, and
$300.
is it?
Are they gonna charge you extra for the engraving on the plate? Because usually it says for the size of trophy, but does that include? the-
Laser engraving included up to 3 lines of text.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could put the budget for, a little bit more in case, but
So,
I'd say 200 ought to be sufficient. Right. If they're $56 a piece.
Well, one of them's
No.
57, the next one's 60, and the next
Oh,
one's
so you're
63.
doing one, we're doing one of each.
yes,
I gotcha.
and then
Then 300 probably would be more.
That's
I would
what
think
was
300.
saying, that would cover everything.
yeah, so it's $179.52 for the 3 of them, and then potential shipping. And whatever, so maybe $300.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of trophies, not to exceed $300.
I'll second.
roll call?
Naomi,
Yes.
Ellie,
Yes,
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Angie? Yes.
Line item 6, approve, disapprove the repair of police car for $3,143.98. This is Anthony's.
Did they know that those cars have, recalls on them? They both have at least 3 recalls each.
That I do not know, but didn't the service people know that?
No, they wouldn't know it up here. They would have to call.
The dealer.
The system that we used at Toyota, they automatically popped up,
Mm-hmm,
but they could take them down to to court to get those taken care of. And
okay.
they probably should to make sure that it's not
None of
interfering
these,
with.
yeah.
Something that's on here.
I mean, cause that's kind of weird. This is the second car we've had to replace,
That.
Well-
Fuse
And
box,
wiring
that's,
box and stuff.
yeah, that shouldn't go out like that.
And then, yeah, and then Pedro's has to take, did they take it up there already? I think they took it up there
They
already.
took it, they were supposed to have taken it up there this morning.
Yeah.
or
His
Friday
car,
morning.
because his AC isn't working again. And did we fix that?
It
I
was-
get, there's,
No,
we've
we-
done so
no, no,
much,
no, no.
much to it, the
We
cars.
Did fix it, and they fixed it, but then something was not, weren't right on it, so he had to take it back, so that one's not gonna cost us.
Oh, okay.
It was their fault to begin with.
It was
for
pretty
not
much their
fixing it.
fault.
Well, I hope not. I remember that.
so Anthony's was the one that didn't have any AC on it. And his was completely empty on Freon, but we checked it for a leak and it didn't have,
Mm,
so. Right from while they're sitting and
Well, it
Under the
shouldn't be
tree
getting
with
too
the
hot
air
under the
conditioning.
tree.
okay. So if I can get a motion for line 6.
I'll make the motion to approve repair for police car $3,143.98 on Anthony's.
Roll call.
Naomi,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes,
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Angie? Yes.
Okay. Line item 7, approve, disapprove CML conference for trustee. So that was put on the agenda because I was unaware that Delhi had gone to the CML conference. And
Dan, I
When-
talked to Dan this afternoon and even he remembers it being on the agenda.
when,
I'm not sure. He said he would go back into the past agendas, but I remember having that discussion because I said, well, I wish somebody else would go with me. And you said, well, that would involve me taking my vacation days. Melissa and Cajun both said, well, we can't take that time off to go. And that was it. And so everybody's all, okay, so I'm like, I'll go. And then when Mike was sitting here going, well, Fort Morgan has let me know, I'm just giving you guys a heads up, Fort Morgan has let me know that they're redoing their water treatment plant. So we are gonna have to upgrade our deal, or we're gonna be charged for it. And I said, well, that's good because there's a seminar sitting in on the CMLs that is about getting grants for wastewater reclamation. And there is, we can get 300,000 for the planning of it, and we can get another 30 million to do it. And they will pretty much just hand it to us because we are considered when did they know this? Disadvantaged community.
okay,
And they will
but
pretty
can,
much just hand us
but did we vote on it, Delhi?
I don't know. You guys didn't say I couldn't go and you're like, yeah, okay, that sounds good.
There was a seminar that we were talking about Deb going to for.
Yeah,
a
she
number
got
of
the,
days.
she got the grant for that.
Right.
And so, like I said,
But the previous year,
Last year,
yes, you said
yes,
you were
we voted on
interested
it,
and we
but
voted
it
on it. It was
came-
actually on the agenda.
But it had to be on the agenda because Deb couldn't buy a pack of bubble gum without it being approved from the board. That's why we passed it so that Deb could pay for anything under $500 and you could pay for anything under $1,000 so that every little tiny.
But
thing
it
didn't have to
still
go before
needed
the
to
board.
be voted on
Why?
because you can't,
I'm
everything.
still not getting the why.
Well, first of all, you were over, the hotel alone was over the budget. Her limit was 500
Uh-huh.
and the hotel was
507, and
508.
it won't be that when the taxes comes back because they had to charge us the taxes on the hotel until I took the copy of our tax ID number stuff in. So that money up to, it's like $30 and something worth of tax will come back to the, he said 3 to 5 business days will come back to the account. So it will technically only be $470 some dollars.
So that rule was, we did that so that they could buy things for the departments that needed something.
Well,
What department is this going to?
the learning and the knowledge that I brought back to help
But
our
that comes out of
town.
their departments. There's an education, or a training, amount that is in each department's budget. Whose budget are we taking this out of? That's what should have been
We'll
voted
find
on.
out.
Like, that's why it should have been voted on.
I don't know,
That's
like
a
I
lot
said,
of
I
money.
brought
That's
it up and nobody said, no, you can't go.
But it, if we voted on it the year
So,
before, and everybody needs to be careful how much we're reaching out to Dan. Because if it's not something that's necessary, then we're getting a bill. It's not like, oh, this and this, like, if you have things, make a list of it, so then we can add it to, our agenda when we do meet with him, so that we're not paying,
I don't think
separate
anybody
times.
should be calling without authorization. That's for the office and for the mayor. And anybody else needs to get approval or authorization from Naomi.
So when was this conference?
Last week. I was gone Tuesday through Friday. And on top of that, I paid out over $500 worth of my own money. I paid for all my
By
gas.
choice.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. All my own gas, all my own food. I paid for all my own parking because we had to pay for parking. I paid the $200 damage deposit on the hotel that I won't see back for another, he said 10 days. So I paid all of this out of my own pocket to go so that I could bring all this knowledge and all this grant information and stuff back to the town. So that we wouldn't have to pay for this, so that we could get the government to pay for tons of our stuff here without having to take it out of our general budget.
So the print-off that I'm seeing was that you guys registered April 23rd,
Yeah, that's when early registration opened, because if you don't, it's $700.
and yet we didn't see it on the agenda.
No, we talked about it clear back in March.
Okay,
I remember
But-
bringing it up in March when they sent me.
but
the
just like you
first
came in
bill.
and had her pay for it, you should have came in and had her put it on the agenda so that it could have been voted on and approved.
Okay, that's, like I said, we just did this backwards. I wasn't aware that that was gonna be an issue. I was not aware that this was gonna be an issue. Everybody across the board in the state sends 2 people to the CMLs at least. I'm always the only one there.
Okay, but
From
when
this
when
town,
they
but-
send people to the CML
They pay for everything.
and they get it approved.
Oh,
This is
well,
this is what the whole deal is, not that the whole.
okay, so I get that. That's
Right.
where I made the mistake. And, I was talking about it and nobody said, no, you can't go. So that was my mistake. That's where I made the mistake. I should have, like that, had Deb put it on the agenda. I wasn't aware it needed to be voted on.
But we
So
voted on it
that's
last
where,
year.
yeah, because Deb couldn't pay for it without it going through the
Well, but
thing
still,
first.
it's
But,
spending money.
okay, I get that now. I understand that. I see where I made the mistake. Okay, I get that. But like I said, it's still just everybody in the state sends people to the CMLs. I am literally the only one that seriously has to come in here and fight for this. Because
You don't
everybody,
have
it's
to-
an automatic
No.
thing.
No,
you don't
we
have
couldn't,
to
we
fight
would, I'm
for
not
it.
saying that we would have shot you down.
It just has to go through the proper
I mean,
channels.
you
Okay,
went last year and there wasn't a problem at all.
It was put on the agenda for 2 months in a row before everybody finally got around to voting for it. Because it's like, well, we'll put that off for next month. We'll put that off for next month. We'll put it off for next
But
month.
it's still, it was voted on.
Okay, so that's where I made the
Fine, it
mistake.
was voted on.
Okay, so I
This
made
year
the
it
mistake. Like I said, it was my mistake.
So, no,
Next
it's
year,
Deb's
I'll know
mistake.
better.
It was
And
Deb's mistake.
That's kind of where I'm falling. is
And
that
she was,
Deb should have been the one to be like, oh, okay, well, really, this needs to be put on the agenda.
and Deb told me, well, you guys, say that you guys have me, as long as a liaison has approved of a purchase for whatever department it may be, it has to go through a liaison. And I said, yes, you're correct. So she's like, and, her justifying her doing it was because we've always said that I am not the only boss. I might be the head boss, but that each of the trustees is a boss to the other employees. Therefore, when her other boss came to her and told her, I want to go to this, it's under your
It
limit.
was more like, could I go?
Um, oh, that's not what her words were. She went ahead and did it. And I said, so you kind of just shot yourself in the foot. I said, you said that you make purchases as long as it's approved by the liaison, but what liaison did you get approval for? I said, you didn't even tell me that you had done this. So she didn't say nothing whatsoever about it.
Just spoke to
Even
the-
when she was over the police department and Pedro and them needed something, and she would reach out to the office. If I wasn't hearing from Pete, I was hearing from Deb, hey, did you know that Robin or Pedro or Anthony came and said that they need this, this, and this? Is
Okay,
that
but
okay?
I wasn't aware she hadn't said anything to you.
So I did not
That
get
was
that.
something I wasn't aware of. I wasn't aware she hadn't said anything to you about it.
Well, she was written up for it.
Because I figured once she paid for it, it would come through our accounts and everything, and then it would go through you. I didn't realize she hadn't gone through you
No, she did
afterwards to
not.
say, hey, this is what we did.
No,
Mm.
because she assumed that you had discussed it with us.
Well, we did, but I didn't bring it like before the board. I
Well,
mean, I said, you know.
That's
I
what
would
I'm
like to
saying.
go,
She
hey,
thought you came and presented it to the board because, she was gone for a lot of this time frame, of doing the meetings and whatnot. So she was not here. So she just assumed that it was and that everybody was up to speed
I'll
on,
pick up the telephone and say, hey,
So
Did
a
you
lot
guys
of,
do
lack
this?
of communication, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like, there should just be like the overall like, assumption that something like this should have been discussed with the entire board, or at least the mayor or someone, for her to be like, okay, I'm confident that I can go ahead and book this hotel,
And do
this
this.
conference, and do all of these things.
and that was my fault. I will take responsibility for this. Next year, I know I will bring it in and say, guys, this is what I want to do. This is, and get it voted on. So that was my misunderstanding also.
I do remember we discussing it in the meeting, but yes, it was
We
never
didn't vote
voted
on
on or
it.
anything like
Exactly.
that, and,
Right.
yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
But I
I
did
remember
bring back
bringing
some
it
really
up.
major
And if we
information.
would have had to vote on it, yeah, I would have found many issues with voting on it. I mean, I think it is important that, we're engaging in,
Did somebody go?
yeah, that somebody go and engage in this information for the town. So, yeah, in the future, anything like that
Comes
should
before
just
the
be
board.
kind of common knowledge for the ladies in the office.
Yeah.
To,
Even though it's an
have
every,
some kind
every
of-
year thing, it still has to be
Yeah.
voted on.
okay, number 7.
so I'll approve CML conference for a trustee.
Yeah, well, we kind of need to disapprove.
Well, it's already been paid for. How are we
I
gonna
know,
disapprove it?
but then how we're gonna go back and do, we're gonna take Deb's write-up away from her if we agree to
Well, I don't
this?
think that has anything to do with that.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
all
that's
you're doing is
totally
approving the
separate.
CML conference for me. That doesn't take away her write-up.
Okay.
I mean, I would understand if it hadn't been paid for and she didn't have already gone, but the fact that she's already gone and everything, what would be the point of disapproving it? And then a separate matter is her write-up, but I think
This
that's
doesn't affect that.
still legitimate. Don't you?
Okay,
And the motion can be made, but you don't have to approve.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the made motion? I just jumped in the middle of it.
Second,
Roll call?
Naomi,
No.
Ellie,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Josie,
No.
Robin,
No.
Angie? No.
So I guess I'm confused then, so if we're disapproving it,
It just doesn't pass it.
think
I mean,
not-
it's already been paid for, but it just
Yeah.
means that we disapprove.
We
what's
disapprove.
been-
We didn't agree to it because of the way that it was done.
But I did bring back some major information.
Um, let me adjourn,
Okay.
if I can get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:06 PM.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Naomi,
Yes?
Ellie,
Yes.
Melissa,
yes.
Josie?
Yes.
Robin? Yes. Angie? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I did bring back some major information.